No. Hello, sir. How are you, sir?
Hello. I'm good. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm fine, sir. Thank you. This is Pradyumna here studying in grade 5, NS International School, Mumbai. Today, I'm going to take your interview on my current EOI, Science. I have few questions based on this UOI, Unit of Inquiry. Shall we start with the interview, sir?
Yes, please proceed.
Yeah. First, can you introduce yourself?
Myself, Dr. Nissar Reshi. I am the Assistant Professor of Biological Science at School of Science, Sandeep University, Nasik, Maharashtra. I have the experience of more than 10 years in the field of science and technology with specialization in the biological science.
Great. Let's start with the question. First question. How has science developed from then to now?
See, if you go back to 150 years and see the history, there has been a tumultuous conversion of the technologies in science. I'll just give you one example. If you see around nowadays, we can edit the human genome. As a scientist, one can read the transcript of what is given in your DNA, and we can predict the coming deadly diseases in a person. That is where we have reached now. This is all because of the advancement in science and technology. We didn't know anything about DNA 100 years before. Now we are at the time that we can decode a DNA, a simple DNA, which is a kind of what we can say, which modulates an individual. So this is where we have been in the since last one century. From a simple plant, from a simple bacteria, from a simple human being, now in 2022 we can decode a genome and can predict the deadly disease a human being can suffer from. We can change the whole genetic architecture of a cell by using a technology. We can harvest the energy from the wind, from the waves, from the earth, from the water. This is how we have developed across last century. So there has been a tremendous development as far as science is concerned since last one century.
Great. Now let's move to the second question. What do you think about the change, good or bad?
See, it depends upon the context. You see, being the person of science, I would say, so if I give you a nuclear bomb, what would you do with that? Would you extract the energy or would you bomb a society? That's up to you, right? So when we try to develop a technology, we develop with the positive intent. So it depends upon the context whether you use it this way or that way. The best example is of nuclear bomb. If the nuclear bomb is used, we in India we are the nuclear power. If we extract the energy, the whole of the India will come out of the electricity crisis. So the change is always positive when we develop a change, but with the course of time, with the context of the time, yes, there is a misuse. I will give one more example of the misuse. If I decode a DNA of you, or if I decode a DNA of any individual, if I see that the person is going to have a cancer, to develop it has a developing a tendency of cancer, and if I leak that information, LIC will cancel your insurance, right?
Right.
So yes, there is the ethical and moral issues with respect to the advancement. Yes, but however, we can extract the good things provided we do the things with a positive intent.
Nice. Let's move to the third question. How science in the past helps the science now?
We say that we build on the things of the past. I will give you an example. You see, antibiotics, whenever we fall ill, whenever we get fever, we get infection, we take antibiotics, right?
Right.
It was in 1960 when one of the scientists accidentally came across a penicillin, he didn't know it is an antibiotic. He did not know it is antibiotic. He just came to the conclusion that this chemical can kill the bacteria. Later on, the scientists developed and come to the conclusion that this is called as antibiotic. In 1916, it was Alexander Fleming who came across penicillin. He did not know that this is antibiotic. He did not know how does it work. He did not know how do we produce production of these things from the animals and plants and bacteria. But with the technology advancing, we dig deep in his discoveries and we found that yes, Fleming, who gave us an idea in 1960s, is now what an antibiotic. We are treating tuberculosis, we are treating cholera, we are treating fungal diseases, and we have developed the techniques now based on the idea given by the Fleming in 1960s, who then didn't know what antibiotic is. He just told that this is a chemical which kills the infectious bacteria. That's all he said. But based on an idea, we picked up that yes, it is an antibiotic. We can extract the antibiotics from plants, from microorganisms. We can synthesize the antibiotics from this, what you call as industries, pharmaceutical industries, for the development of medicine. So yes, all this, whatever we are now, it is somewhere related to the concept given by the earlier scientists 60 years ago, 1 century ago. Yes, we are heavily relying on the concepts of the scientists given before century or 2 centuries ago.
Okay, now let's move with the fourth question. What do you think are the advantages and disadvantages of scientific advancement?
I just quoted one example. As a scientist, if you decode the DNA of an individual, and as a scientist, if you get to know that this person has a potential to develop a cancer, what if you will leak that information to an insurance company? Insurance company will immediately suspend his insurance because they will get to know that this person is going to die within a short span of time, right? This is a disadvantage. This is the ethics. You have the nuclear power with you, right? What if you go and bomb the others? This is a disadvantage, right? However, there are many more advantages. If you get to know that a person is going to contract a cancer disease in coming years, you may inform the candidate, you may inform an individual who may get a treatment in advance and can save himself from this deadly disease. So again, I would say it has both pros and cons, depends on the context you use in. Yes, you can give the information to the patient by you may develop a disease. It is a positive intent, but if the same information you leak to the insurance company, they are going to cancel, withdraw his insurance because they will estimate that this guy may die in 5 years and we have to pay a hefty amount to his family, right?
Right.
So it has both the aspects. I tell you one more thing. You may have heard about the golden rice, genetically modified food, right? So there are other concepts. Yes, there are advantages, there are disadvantages. The best example is, I said, like this gene editing. Nowadays, the world is focusing on the genes. If I take a body sample from you, if I take a one cell, I can edit the gene. I can tell you what is there in your DNA. But what is there in your DNA is not a problem. What is the problem? If I leak that information, that is the issue. What if I leak that information to an insurance company? So yes, we have the advantage. We have the advantage as well. We harvest the energy. We have to feed the people. We have to harvest the energy to run the agriculture, to run the transport, to run the industrial area, to feed the people of 1 billion population. So depends on the type of a person you use that technology. It has both pros and cons. Now the ball is in your court, whether to use it this way or that way. But as a person of science, you should always look at the positive side. Try to use the positive side. That is what I suggest to everyone, that one should look at the positive side. We have to extract the energy, use the nuclear bomb for the electricity and energy, use the gene editing for the treatment of the disease, so and so forth.
Excellent. Now let's move to the fifth question. How do you think you can turn the disadvantages of scientific advancement to advantages?
I believe that we have to change the mindset of the people, the destructive mindset of the people. That is what I believe needs to be changed. If you develop an hydrogen bomb, if you develop a atom bomb, try to develop it in a positive context to meet the demand of the current times as far as the energy is concerned, not to destroy the people. So we have to, if you go to the Hiroshima and Nagasaki, if you look back to that incident, people who are even still today, the people, the child born or handicapped because of the deadly effect of the atom bomb which was dropped by the USA. So the only way to uh, turn the disadvantage into advantage is to ensure that either we have to ban these deadly weapons, or if the countries are allowed to develop the weapons, there should be the one thing that it is only used for the extraction of the energy, not for the a war weapon.
Okay, now let's move to the sixth question. How, what, and why did the luxuries of the past turn into needs of present?
Luxuries are past in the needs of the present.
Yeah.
Here the question, if I give you an example of food, 100 years before, India had a lot of agriculture land and a lot of food to feed their people, right? That was our luxury, right? We used to export the food from India to the other countries. But now this luxury is our need. The agriculture land has decreased because the population has increased. When the population increases, we have to provide the shelter and industry to the growing population, right? So with the growing population, the agriculture land has decreased, but at the same time, the food demand has increased. So having said that, the luxury of 50 years before, that we used to export the food to the all Asian countries, to the foreign countries, but that luxury has become a need for us now. We have to feed the people of our own country. We have to provide more food in the less agriculture land. So I believe that this luxury that we have, we were the best suppliers of wheat and rice in the Asia. That is our luxury that we use it to export to the Pakistan, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, and other European countries. But that luxury has turned in the need of ours because the Indian population has grown exponentially, very high. So we have to feed those people now.
Great. Now let's move to the seventh question. Which scientific advancement had the largest impact on you? Give example.
It is again the DNA sequencing. This has if I want discovery and we decode DNA. Everything is given in your DNA, right? If I am the scientist, I can decode your DNA. I can tell you what disease you may get had. So that is which has editing genome.
Okay, now let's move to the eighth question. What do you predict about the future with regard to scientific advancements?
I believe that very soon we are likely to land on the moon. It will be as normal as we live the life on the earth with the advancement in science and technology. And moreover, the life is going to be very easy in the coming years because of the advancement in science and technology. We rely more on the robotics now. Human interference will be very less. Everything will be run by the machine. The life will be easy. The accuracy will be more. However, I have the apprehension that people may have the dull life, people may suffer more because the activity of the people will reduce because there will be more machinery involved in running the offices than the human beings.
Excellent. Now let's move to the ninth question. Do you have any suggestions for our future generations?
Yes, definitely. I would suggest future generations to unfold the nature without disturbing it. Understand the nature, unfold the nature. Everything is given there in the nature. Unfold, use the nature, but please do not disturb the nature.
Super. Now let's move to the last question. Which scientific advancements have changed the least and which have changed the most?
The science advancements in the technology of human beings, from identification of the DNA, followed by its isolation, and followed by its decoding, that has changed the most. That is, and I don't think there is anything which has changed the least. I would say since last 50 years, everything, whether it's physical sciences, clinical sciences, mathematical science, everything science is progressing leaps and bounds, and we continue to grow like this. 10 years before, we did not have a DNA sequencing. Now we have a DNA sequencing. Probably in the coming 10 years, we may decode something further. 50 years before, we knew there's an atom, but now we knew there are subatomic particles. So whether it's chemical sciences, whether it is mathematical sciences, we develop models. We predict the wave of the COVID by using the mathematics. So I think science in all the aspects has progressed a lot. So we are in the good direction, making the life of the people easy. Yes, we have progressed a lot. There hasn't been any part of science which has not progressed it, which has changed at least. No, I don't think so. Every part of the science had grown to a large extent, has advanced to a large extent so far.
Perfect. So now this is the end of the interview. Thank you, sir, for attending this Zoom meeting for this 10-question interview, and I hope you have a great day. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye bye. Thank you.